India is expected to resist an anticipated push from Chinese President Xi Jinping to use this year's BRICS summit of emerging market powers, which includes Russia, as a platform to highlight his efforts to build an alternative to the US-led global order, Indian officials with knowledge of the matter said. The US criticized China's stepped-up purchases of Russian oil as a worrying sign of collaboration between the countries. President Joe Biden, asked about comments made by UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, said he isn't concerned about Ukraine fatigue among world leaders. China's premier visited a wheat farm for a trip that likely signaled Beijing's worries about rising food prices. A close ally of President Vladimir Putin threatened retaliation in an escalating standoff with the European Union after Lithuania blocked the transit of sanctioned goods to Russia's Baltic territory of Kaliningrad. Fighting continues in the eastern Ukrainian city of Severodonetsk as Russia bombarded the nearby city of Lysychansk in attempts to seize the last pocket of the Luhansk region controlled by Ukrainian forces, according to regional governor Suri Haidai. The Russian offensive continued in neighboring Donetsk as troops advanced toward the town of Bakhmut, according to Ukraine's military. The military also reported heavy fighting in the southern region of Kherson. In the north, Russian forces intensified the shelling commercial and residential buildings in Kharkiv, the country's second-largest city. Putin's government recently replaced the commander of the Russian airborne force and may purge other leaders it sees as not getting the job done in Ukraine. Chinese Premier Lysychansk visited a wheat farm in a province neighboring the capital, underscoring his government's lingering worries about food security and inflation. President Xi reviewed efforts to boost domestic grain production in Sichuan province, as Russia's war destabilizes global food security. China is one of the world's biggest wheat importers, leaving it particularly exposed to the effects of Putin's invasion of Ukraine, a major shipper of grains such as barley, corn, and wheat. Indian negotiators will look to ensure any joint statement out of the summit is neutral and prevent attempts by China and Russia to use the summit to score a propaganda victory against the US and its allies, according to Indian officials with knowledge of the matter. India's government will also seek to delay China's effort to expand the BRICS grouping by pushing the organization to decide on criteria for adding new members. Ukrainian Interior Minister Denis Monastyrsky is championing a loosening of gun restrictions as Russia's attack on the country shifts sentiment toward more openness on civilian possession of firearms. The war showed that tens of thousands of guns, including assault weapons, that have been distributed by the government for national defense were proof that Ukrainian citizens can handle arms. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told U.S. broadcaster NBC he couldn't guarantee the two Americans captured in Ukraine wouldn't face capital punishment, saying they should be held responsible for the crimes they have committed. He said Alexander Druik and Andy Huen, whose families reported them missing last week, weren't likely to be protected by the Geneva Conventions as prisoners of war. That's because Moscow considers them soldiers of fortune, not part of the Ukrainian army. Some 20,000 people from around the world have responded to Kyiv's call to join the International Legion of Ukraine's effort against Russian forces, the Ukrainian government said in March. A court in the Russian-occupied Donetsk region previously sentenced 2 British fighters and a Moroccan to death.